It's just something I actually.
Hare Krishna, Daneshwar Prabhu. To both of you. Do you know what that feedback is that's coming from your channel, Daneshwar Prabhu? Any idea?
The only thing is, I'm eating. I don't know if is that what you're hearing?
No, it's every time you come on, there's a blah, 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 there's something else going on in the background, like an echo. Do you have two different? Do you hear that, Krishna Chandra?
I hear it, yeah.
But I don't hear anything in this room at all. I don't know if it's a fan of the computer. Let me plug in my external mic. See if that makes a difference.
It's like your voice is coming through, but it's distorted, like an echo of after. I can't explain it. I don't know. Anyway, I'll start the prayer to Lord Brahma. Shurane dikpati kamaniyam dasamukamoli balim ramaniyam keshavadrita rahama sharira jai jagadisha hare jai jagadisha hare jaya jagadisha hare Vittarasi dikshurane dikpati kamaniyam dasamukamoli balim ramaniyam kesavadrita rahama sharira jai jagadisha hare jai jagadisha hare jaya jagadisha hare. So this is the prayer of Jayadev Goswami in honor of the Dasha avatar, and the translation for this is, O Keshava, O Lord of the universe, O Lord Hari, who have assumed the form of Ramacandra, all glories to you. In the battle of Lanka, you destroyed the 10-headed demon Ravan and distribute his heads as a delightful offering to the presiding deities of the 10 directions, headed by Indra. This action was long desired by all of them, who are much harassed by this monster. I'm just assuming that the word, maybe it was originally Rakshasha, and Rakshasha is being translated here as monster. I think that's an appropriate term. So, we're reading the Bhagavatam, and we're nearing the end of this chapter. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutaya Shmati Bhaktivedanta Swamini Namine Namaste Sarasari Devi Gauravani Pacharini Nirvasesha Shunyavari Pastichari Shtarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasari Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So in an earlier purport we were reading, Srila Prabhupada said, in Kali Yuga, Lord Ramacandra appears in Kali Yuga as Lord Gaurachandra. No difference. After offering, this is text number 39 and 40. After offering the wooden shoes before Lord Ramacandra, Lord Bharat stood with folded hands, his eyes full of tears. And Lord Ramacandra bathed Bharata with tears while embracing him with both arms for a long time. Accompanied by Mother Sita and Lakshman, Lord Ramacandra then offered his respectful obeisances unto the learned Brahmins and the elderly persons in the family. And all the citizens of Ayodhya offered their respectful obeisances unto the Lord. Have you ever been to Ayodhya, either of you? Any of you?
No, unfortunately.
Not I.
Me neither.
The only place of note I've been to besides Vrindavan is the place where Mahaprabhu met Ramananda Roy.
Oh, very nice. Yes, Godavari. Vishakhapatnam, I think it's called, right?
Godavari and Kovur.
Go for it. Okay. All right. So the citizens of Ayodhya, upon seeing their king return after a long absence, offered him flower garlands, waved their upper claws, and danced in great jubilation. And I think the usual order, because Krishna Chandra is here before. Yeah. So it's you and then Daneshwar, Krishna Chandra, text 41 and 42.
I'll be ready for just 2 seconds. Uh-oh. The citizens of Ayodhya, upon seeing their king return after a long absence, offered him flower garlands, waved their upper cloths, and danced in great jubilation. I think that's the same verse.
Yeah, I clicked on the next verse, but
Oh, okay.
it keeps giving me the same verse.
Fascinating.
I'll try this.
Yeah,
Okay.
that probably. Okay, good to go. O King, Lord Bharat carried Lord Ramachandra's wooden shoes. Sugriva and Vibhishan carried a whisk and an excellent fan. Hanuman carried a white umbrella. Shatrughna carried a bow and 2 quivers, and Sita Devi carried a water pot filled with water from holy places. Angada carried a sword, and Jambavan, king of the rickshaws, carried a golden shield.
Daneshwar Prabhu.
O King Parikshit, as the Lord sat on his airplane of flowers, with women offering him prayers and reciters chanting about his characteristics, he appeared like the moon with stars and planets. Thereafter, having been welcomed by his brother Bharat, Lord Ramachandra entered the city of Ayodhya in the midst of a festival. When he entered the palace, he offered obeisances to all the mothers, including Kaikeyi and the other wives of Maharaj Dasarath, and especially his own mother, Kaushalya. He also offered obeisances to the spiritual preceptors, such as Vashishta. Friends of his own age and younger friends worshipped him, and he returned their respectful obeisances, as did Lakshman and Mother Sita. In this way, they all entered the palace. Very much like the Krishna entering Dwarka that we read not long ago.
I was just wondering if there's a prime deity of Sitaram, Lakshman, Hanuman in Ayodhya, like an ancient one that's been worshipped there. I'm not familiar, and I don't know if anyone else is.
No idea.
Where is Ayodhya located? Is it in Uttar Pradesh?
My understanding is somewhere on the west coast of India, but where I'm not sure. I think upper west coast, but very easily I could be wrong.
Yeah, Krishna Chandra Prabhu, would you mind looking that up? Where is Ayodhya located?
Oh, yes, no problem.
Thanks. Okay. That was 2 verses, right, Daneshwar?
Yes, it was.
Upon seeing their sons, the mothers of Rama, Lakshman, Bharata, and Shatrughna immediately arose, like unconscious bodies returning to consciousness. the mothers placed their sons on their laps and bathed them with tears, thus relieving themselves of the grief of long separation. The family priest or spiritual master Vishishta had Lord Ramacandra cleanly shaved, freeing him from his matted locks of hair. Then, with the cooperation of the elderly members of the family, he performed the bathing ceremony, Abhishek, for Lord Ramacandra with the water of the four seas and with other substances, just as it was performed King Indra. So Daneshwar Prabhu, when it's describing that the Lord got shaved up here, when I think of the Lord's form, it's Sat Chit Ananda Vigraha, it's not made of matter. So when he was shaved, that wasn't like he had actual, not material hair. His hair must also be Satchidananda as well, right?
One would think, and I don't really have a definitive answer for that. It could be that the Lord, just like, in this world, the Lord appears to change his form growing from boyhood to youth.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't they do a haircutting ceremony for baby Krishna?
And for Lord Chaitanya also. Wow, it sounds like there's a dog there somewhere. Yeah, Lord Chaitanya got shaved up too, and everyone cried.
Yeah. So, apparently that may manifest for pastime. I don't know. The other thing I was wondering here about bathing with water from the four seas.
Mm-hmm.
So there's two seas, on the sides of India. What other two seas would there be?
Mm-hmm. Maybe Krishna Chandra can look that up next. The four seas of India.
Well, there's the Arabian Sea on the west side and the Bay of Bengal on the east side. What otherwise you got to travel for quite a while to come to another sea.
Right. Did you get an answer to the first question of Ayodhya, Krishna Chandra? Krishna Chandra?
You're eating, Gaura.
Yes, hold on one second. Uttar Pradesh, 100 kilometers east of the city of Lucknow. And
No.
yeah, and it's a little bit south of Nepal. It's not too far from Nepal.
Okay, where's Lucknow?
In Punjab.
Yeah.
Pretty sure.
Yeah. Okay, I always had the impression Ayodhya was on the coast. It was a coastal city. Am I wrong?
I don't have a map in front of me.
Oh, it's by the river Saryu.
Sarayu.
Sorry. But it's not near the sea. I looked up the four seas of the Indian Ocean, and it's not really four seas according to internet searches. There's Arabian Sea, Bay of Bengal. Excuse me. My screen suddenly changed.
Cape Comorin, but I don't know if that's considered another sea.
Mm-hmm.
They call that the Indian Ocean, don't they? Today they do.
Mm-hmm. It's like I have to get that back.
Yeah.
Maybe different terminology then and now.
Oh, yes. Arabian Sea, Bay of Bengal, Andaman Sea, Red Sea, Java Sea, Persian Gulf, which that seems a bit far-fetched because I don't see how that's possible.
It's a little far away.
Yeah, the Sea of Zanj, but this is according to an internet search.
Okay. I think I only read one, didn't I? Lord Ramacandra fully bathed and his head clean shaven, dressed himself very nicely, and was decorated with a garland and ornaments. Thus he shone brightly, surrounded by his brothers and wife, who were similarly dressed and ornamented. Krishna Chandra. Prabhu.
Being pleased by the full surrender and submission of Lord Bharata, Lord Ramacandra then accepted the throne of the state. He cared for the citizens exactly like a father, and the citizens, being fully engaged in their occupational duties of Varna and Ashram, accepted him as their father. People are very fond of the pattern of Rama Rajya. And even today, politicians sometimes form a party called Rama Rajya, but unfortunately, they have no obedience to Lord Rama. It is sometimes said that people want the kingdom of God without God. Such an aspiration, however, is never to be fulfilled. Good government can exist when the relationship between the citizens and the government is like that exemplified by Lord Ramacandra and his citizens. Lord Ramacandra ruled his kingdom exactly as a father takes care of his children, and the citizens, being obliged to the good government of Lord Ramacandra, accepted the Lord as their father. Thus, the relationship between the citizens and the government should be exactly like that between father and son. When the sons in a family are well trained, they are obedient to the father and mother. And when the father is well qualified, he takes good care of the children. As indicated here by the words, Svadharma Nirata Varnashrama Gunan Vitaha, the people were good citizens because they accepted the institution of Varn and Ashram, which arranges society in the Varn divisions of Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra, and the Ashram divisions of Brahmacharya, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, and Sannyas. This is actual human civilization. People must be trained according to the different Varnashram occupational duties. As confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, shloka 13, Chatur Varnyam Maya Shrishtam Guna Karma Vibhagashaha. The four Varnas must be established according to varying qualities and work. The first principle for good government is that it must institute this Varnashram system. The purpose of Varnashram is to enable people to become God, conscious. Varnashram Charvata Purushena Paraha Puman Vishnur Aradhyate. The entire Varnashram scheme is intended to enable people to become Vaishnavas. Vishnur Asya Devata. When people worship Lord Vishnu as the Supreme Lord, they become Vaishnavas. Thus, people should be trained to become Vaishnavas through the system of Varna and Ashram, as they were during the reign of Lord Ramacandra, when everyone was fully trained to follow the Varnashram principles.
Before you go further, I'd like to hear some comment. If Daneshwar Prabhu has some comments, I'd like to hear from him on what you've been reading now. Do you have anything you don't want to expound upon, Daneshwar Prabhu?
The only thing I would say is, this is, there's much, much more to Varnashram system than this divisions of society. That's the dominant one that organizes people for, as Bhakti Raghava Swami calls it, staged lifelong learning for ashram, and for Varna according to one's inclination, according to their swadharma. In this way, everybody has a proper place in society. Place is important in terms of our, let's say, what do you say, our identity. We need to have a, okay, well, place includes several things. One is proper relationships with others, according to our age and status in life. That automatically, okay, then the other thing about place is that we need to have proper engagement according to our nature. And the third thing is proper relationships with others. let's say relationships that are established by the culture. So when all of these things are in place, everybody has a very everybody feels very secure in the society. They have great security, and that security allows them to develop, to grow. When people do not have that, or particularly when any of those things change rapidly, then people become psychologically disturbed.
Excuse me, Prabhu, what are you referring to when those things change rapidly? What are you referring to specifically?
I'll give you an example.
Thanks.
In the Industrial Revolution, Emile Durkheim, who was a sociologist, French sociologist, he coined the phrase anomie, which means that when people were forced out of the village into the cities where they had no proper relationships with others, didn't have work according to their nature, they were forced simply to find a job to get money, simply to survive, then they become psychologically disturbed. And in those cases, there's a lot of socially deviant behavior occurs, such as alcoholism or violence or suicide.
Wow.
And so this is still the case, like we see in the recent events with the whole COVID drama. Being locked up, people were deprived of having proper relationships with others, and this is extremely detrimental. The suicide rate went way up. Alcoholism and violence also increased dramatically. So these things are required for healthy, normal functioning of individuals. Varnashram Dharma affords these to everyone. Unlike modern society, which everybody is forced to find their place, and it's an extremely difficult thing to do. So we see, as a result of that, for example, that young people, young men particularly, they're reluctant to take on a family. Generally, they're getting married now at the age of 30. And, practically speaking, their childbearing years of their wife will be finished within 10 years. So it puts everything in a very awkward situation. The timing is off for the different stages of life. And so everybody's disturbed and unhappy in modern civilization as a result of this.
Wow. Those are really relevant points you're making, Prabhu.
I wrote one paper that's posted on Dandavats called Varnashram Dharma, a place from which to grow, or maybe it's just titled A Place from Which to Grow. But I elaborate on all those points in that paper.
Was it well received?
I don't know. I haven't looked to see how many read it. I've had several comments on it. Several devotees have mentioned it to me very favorably.
I would think so. What was your point about, you made some reference to Bhakti Raghava Swami creating a category or describing?
He described ashram, rather, as staged lifelong learning. Now,
ashram, okay, yes.
Yeah, because, he's studying education, he's getting a PhD, or maybe he has by now, PhD in education. That's somewhat of his orientation. But I think it's a good descriptor of ashram, because in different stages, well, let's say, we learn all through life, or we're supposed to learn, and ashram gives us a place to learn different lessons according to our stage of life, our age. So I think it's a very good descriptor.
Yes, I think there needs to be a much bigger conference around it, and I'd like to read a quote because I put up an article on my Facebook page about Srila Prabhupada's second half, or 50%. And our godbrother Kalki Prabhu, who I first met at our Chicago temple when I first joined in 75, he was on Tripurari Swami's airport party. And he said, Hare Krishna Gaura Prabhu, I just read your other 50% post. Do you think Varnashram might mean Krishna consciousness outside of institutionalized Krishna consciousness movement? Not to minimize the value and importance of ISKCON, but do we need to have them sanction and control every offering someone makes to Prabhupada? Maybe, quote, the other 50% means Krishna consciousness alongside the institution. Do you have something you want to say on that, Dineshwar?
Yes, I completely agree with that comment. I saw one devotee made a like an org chart of
what kind of chart? What kind?
Organizational chart.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Org chart.
Yeah.
Varnashram Dharma, and they, you know how they have usually like president on top, right, and everything else on below. Well, this devotee put ISKCON on top, and then Varnashram Dharma, all the different sections of society below that, which I totally disagree with.
Sorry, your voice broke up for me. Can you please repeat again what it is you don't agree with?
The idea that everything is underneath the direction of ISKCON or ISKCON personalities.
Someone was presenting that this is supposed to be Varnashram?
Well, that was their idea. That was their concept. But Varnashram is a culture. And, you know,
your voice went out. Sorry, you cut out. I don't know where you are. You're saying Varnashram is a culture. That was the last thing you said.
Producing trained young devotees to lead society. But
you're saying excuse me, you're saying that's what ISKCON is. It's meant to train young devotees to lead society. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Like a university.
Right.
Okay. But Varnashram Dharma is the culture. And as far as it being outside of ISKCON, it's also, my opinion, necessarily outside the confines of this modern demonic culture. And it cannot be practiced, let's say, it must first be established in the villages where the point of Varnashram is to help everybody come to Sattva Gun so that we can then make the easy step to Shuddha Sattva. Okay? Now, Sattva Gun means village life, where very easily one learns how they are dependent on the Lord for their sustenance, for the rain to come at the proper time, and how just, you know, to see that our food comes from the earth by the grace of the Lord, and so on. So, and then furthermore, I also, I wrote a paper some time ago also that how money destroys Varnashram culture. My opinion is that Varnashram culture cannot be properly established in a society that uses money because it destroys mutually dependent relationships, which is the basis of the society. The money makes us independent of each other, seemingly. And if I have money, I don't need you. If you have money, you don't need me.
Yes.
But when we don't have money, I depend on you and I value your contribution. You depend on me, you value my contribution. And so I want you to be the best person that you can be, and you want me to be the best person I can be. So the whole culture in that way it endeavors to lift everybody up rather than ignoring people, you know, you don't know your next door neighbor, whatever character.
What you're describing fosters accountability and mutual support.
Yeah. Bhakti Vikash Maharaj wrote a wonderful book explaining this called Glimpses of Traditional Life.
Uh-huh.
And that was present or prevalent in Bengal when he lived there as a young devotee. So, you know, we see in that kind of a culture that we have real security, real social security. Nobody is left without. There are no homeless. There are no hungry people. There are no neglected people.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody is trained to take care of each other. So anyway, you know, these concepts are not widely shared. Varnashram Dharma is a very nebulous concept. You ask any devotee, you'll probably get a very different understanding of it.
Mm-hmm.
I do hope sometime before I leave this body to write my ideas into a book.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much for all those points. You're reminding me of when I was doing book distribution in the maritime provinces, you know, towards Maine there, just over the border from Maine, Nova Scotia, New Brunswick. And in talking to the locals, I would hear from them, yeah, you know, when my neighbor's having a problem, you know, if the wind blew down his windmill or his barn, you know, got damaged, you know, I know I got to be there. I got to be there to, you know, help him repair things because when the same thing happens to me, I want to make sure that I've helped him so that he'll want to help me. And I got like bingo. I realized, wow, that's a natural interdependence that takes place when people are, you know, because this guy was saying, well, you know, my next door neighbor is about a mile from me, you know, but but you have to be good to your neighbors. It's just like, what's that saying in Hollywood? Be nice to the people on your way up because you'll be meeting them on the way down, kind of thing.
Well, because, you know, when you're in an isolated situation like that, you may have money, but it may not do you any good.
That's right. Uh-huh.
You need people. We need people.
We sure do. That's why I'm here with you right now, and Nandapatni and Krishna Chandra. You know, another thing you were describing, it reminds me of a term that I heard in Africa. I believe the term is Ubuntu. And the idea is that if someone like errs in a community, I don't know, steals something or, you know, some kind of transgression, then the whole community hold themselves responsible. Like, where did we go wrong? Like, where are we lacking that this person behaved in this way? They don't like all point the fingers at the transgressor, but they take it upon themselves that, you know, like that saying, it takes a village to raise a child kind of idea.
Yeah. Ubuntu is from the traditional indigenous culture of South Africa. There's a book by that name, you know?
Uh-huh. No, I didn't know.
And yeah, and so it's very much like my concept of spiritual economics, where it's a gift economy where everybody has obligation to give, to contribute something to the welfare of the community.
What does gift economy actually mean? Did you just describe it just now? It's that you're giving gifts.
Yeah, well, that means you give without remuneration or without keeping score.
Uh-huh.
Right? You make it your focus to give whatever your talent is, whatever your skill set is, your ability. You can give different things, but the idea is everybody is obligated to contribute to the society because they're receiving from others. And so what it does is, again, it makes everybody feel very secure that their needs are going to be met. And it also, you know, how we experience at Christmas, right? We have one day of the year where we give to others and everybody feels happy at Christmas. Why? Not because we're getting gifts, but because the joy of giving. And so it's like that every day of the year in such a culture.
Right. The joy of giving at the same time, if some people don't get, like if they gave, but if they don't receive, then they feel shafted or disappointed or so there's a
That wouldn't happen.
uh-huh.
It can't happen.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, it's like an open market. You know, you go, whatever you have, you put in the market, whatever you need, you get from the market, but you don't have to bring money.
Right.
There's different ways it can operate. In my spiritual economics book, I give different examples. Just about every indigenous culture in the world, at least as far as I've looked, and I give probably a dozen or so examples, all the indigenous cultures practice the gift economy of some sort.
Mm-hmm.
And that changed, of course, with the European conquistadors, who were takers rather than givers.
Mm-hmm. Nanda Patni, do you have any thoughts that came to you during this exchange with Daneshwar Prabhu and what we're reading about Lord Ramacandra and how he organized his community based on the principle of Varnashram? I know myself, when I preach to people about good government, I always remember this purport and I say, you know, a government leader is supposed to be like a loving father, and he takes care of his citizens as if they were their own children. But I mean, we can see, you know, Biden, Trudeau, Putin, this one, that one. I mean, they have no clue. They have no clue what the standard of you know, Sattvic leadership is, what to speak of.
I beg to differ about Putin. Putin is very attentive and very much endeavoring to lift up the people of Russia.
Uh-huh.
He, you know, they do not allow any public advertising of tobacco or alcohol.
Uh-huh.
He's doing his very best to get rid of the concept that drinking vodka is part of the Russian culture.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, and alcoholism has gone way down, and his approval rating is in the like 80%, even with the war going on. The people of Russia love Putin. Why? Because they feel cared for by him. They feel like he's actually has interests in their welfare.
And if those people in Russia have uh, family members in Ukraine that are getting killed by him, that doesn't matter to them.
No, they've opened their doors to all the Ukrainians. I know many devotees who have fled eastern Ukraine to go to Russia, and they receive them without any problem at all.
I see.
And even they,
yes.
You know, the devotees I know who live in the border regions of Russia, they brought busloads of children to their village or their area where they were just prior to this attack. So they brought the children and women from the war zone, specifically before this current battle started.
Mm-hmm.
So they're you know, they're very much want to care for and treat the Ukrainians just like their brothers, because culturally they are the same.
Right. Thank you. Nanda Patni, are you there? I think she went into Samadhi. Okay. Anyway, where were we here?
I was in the middle of reading a purport.
Yeah, we'll go right back to that, Prabhu. Thank you. Yeah, so we agree with Kalki Prabhu then, that a Varnashram system has to virtually, I mean, Shivaram Swami, you could say, is doing Varnashram in Hungary. Would you say, Daneshwar Prabhu?
Every devotee who deals with these topics has somewhat of a different understanding.
Right.
Shivaram Swami has an understanding. I don't think his is the same as mine. Why? Because we approach it from different angles, right? My approach is economics, based on my study of economics for my spiritual economics book. Bhakti Raghava Swami approaches it from the point of view of produce everything that you need and use only what you produce. Bhaktivedanta Purna Swami, he is from traditional Indian culture, which he is very familiar with, having lived in India for his entire adult life. And so, he sees it from that perspective. So each of us, we have a different take on it based on, as far as I see, is from our segue into the topic.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. So in other words, there's no absolute.
Well, what can you do? There hasn't been, and it'd be nice to do this. We should have some kind of a seminar or a gathering to discuss these elements.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be a nice thing to put together, although I don't know if ISKCON would receive that from me at this point.
Yes, but there's greater ISKCON. It's not just only the ISKCON under the GBC. ISKCON's much broader than that.
Again, the participation of the ISKCON bhaktas or devotees would, it should be, let's say they should participate, because they still have quite a significant influence on how the society develops and how that topic is understood within the society.
Right. Yeah, that sounds like a tall order. Krishna Chandra Prabhu, you want to finish the...
Thank you, Prabhuji. Simply enforcing laws and ordinances cannot make the citizens obedient and lawful. That is impossible. Throughout the entire world, there are so many states, legislative assemblies, and parliaments, but still the citizens are rogues and thieves. Good citizenship, therefore, cannot be enforced. The citizens must be trained. As there are schools and colleges to train students to become chemical engineers, lawyers, or specialists in many other departments of knowledge, there must be schools and colleges to train students to become brahmanas, kshatriyas, vaishyas, shudras, brahmacharis, grihastas, vanaprasthas, and sannyasis. This will provide the preliminary condition for good citizenship, varnashram gunanvitaha. Generally speaking, if the king or president is a rajashri, the relationship between citizens and the chief executive will be clear, and there will be no possibility of disruption in the state because the number of thieves and rogues will decrease. In Kali Yuga, however, because the varnashram system is neglected, people are generally thieves and rogues. In the system of democracy, such thieves and rogues naturally collect money from other thieves and rogues, and thus there is chaos in every government, and no one is happy. But here the example of good government is to be found in the reign of Lord Ramacandra. If people follow this example, there will be good government all over the world.
Any thoughts on this, Krishna Chandra Prabhu?
Not at the moment. It makes perfect sense.
It sounds like government made in heaven.
Absolutely. We need it now.
Prabhupada would quote the Archbishop of Canterbury in England, and he would quote him saying, people want the kingdom of God without God. And Prabhupada said, and that is called a fool's paradise. So,
my turn.
I'm trying to get to the next verse. Yeah, go for it, Prabhu.
Lord Ramachandra became king during Treta Yuga, but because of his good government, the age was like Satya Yuga. Everyone was religious and completely happy. Report. Among the four yugas, Satya, Treta, Dwapara, and Kali, the Kali Yuga is the worst. But if the process of Varnashram Dharma is introduced, even in this age of Kali, the situation of Satya Yuga can be invoked. The Hare Krishna movement or Krishna consciousness movement is meant for this purpose. Everybody should read that every day.
Yes.
Kalara dosha nide rajan astye ko mahan guna kirtanad eva krishnasya mukta sangha param bhaje. My dear king, although Kali Yuga is full of faults, there is still one good quality about this age. Simply by chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, one can become free from material bondage and be promoted to the transcendental kingdom. Bhagavatam 12:351. If people take to this Sankirtan movement of chanting Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, they will certainly be freed from the contamination of Kali Yuga, and the people of this age will be happy, as people were in Satya Yuga, the golden age. Anyone, anywhere can easily take to this Hare Krishna movement. One need only chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, observe the rules and regulations, and stay free from the contamination of sinful life. Even if one is sinful and cannot give up sinful life immediately, if he chants the Hare Krishna Mahamantra with devotion and faith, he will certainly be freed from all of his sinful activities, and his life will be successful. Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. This is the blessing of Lord Ramacandra, who appeared in this age of Kali as Lord Gaura Sundar. Have a comment?
Yes, please.
So according to Abhayamudra Devidasi, we are at the Yuga Yoga, the conjunction of the ages, and that we will be entering the mini golden age of Lord Chaitanya, transitioning there over the course of the next 20 years. And at by 2040, let's say all of the difficulties that we will be going through at this time will be largely resolved. So that mini golden age, of course, must be characterized by a spiritual culture and a spiritual government, a spiritual understanding of how to live. I'm currently made it my engagement. I'm writing a blog of the name How Then Shall We Live on Substack to explain or describe what is a spiritual culture and what does it look like and how is it different from our modern culture.
Excellent.
Dvija is here. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Welcome, Dvija Garanga Prabhu. Thanks for coming. Was that 2 paragraphs, Danishwar?
That was one sloka, but there's more here, so I'll yield.
Okay, Dvija Garanga, would you like to read, Prabhu?
Yeah, sure. Text 52.
Yeah.
Translation: O Maharaj Parikshit, best of the Bharat dynasty, during the reign of Lord Ramacandra, the forests, the rivers, the hills and mountains, the states, the 7 islands, and the 7 seas were all favorable in supplying the necessities of life for all living beings.
Excuse me, 1 second here. I just want to go back and look at the previous verse because I wanted to make a comment, but I didn't want to. Oh, yes. I wanted to say that, well, there's something, there's some voice cutting in right now. I don't know what that is. Does anyone hear that sound?
Yeah, something cutting out.
Yeah, anyway, I just find this so significant. Prabhupada saying that if we introduce Varnashram Dharma, then the whole Kali Yuga situation will become like Satya Yuga. I mean, wow. What a powerful statement that is. I mean, did anyone notice that before?
Yeah, it kind of lit up when I heard Prabhu reading it. It's like, wow.
Yeah, I've been quoting that statement in my classes on Varnashram for probably the last 10 years. It's very significant.
We may have a little bit of earwax, that needs to get cleaned out. not hearing properly.
Yeah, sorry. I said I've been quoting that sloka or that.
No, I heard you.
Oh.
I'm saying devotees have not been hearing properly. If you've been thinking about it, wow, too much noise. Wow.
Dvija, that's coming from Dvija somehow.
Really?
I think so. Because when your mic is off, that noise is heard. But it wasn't when you were speaking somehow. Okay, anyway, I'm through.
Okay, thank you. We were in the 50s in the verses, right? And all of a sudden we jump back to 41. I don't know how that happened.
Dvija read 52.
Why can't I get this to go to the next verse? Excuse me?
The bottom link, I think if you just keep clicking on it, it'll go back. It's going to take a few seconds, but you'll ultimately get there.
Okay, well, yeah, it went way, way back. Krishna, technological difficulties here. Sorry, technical. All right. Well, let's go to the next one. Good, 44. Does anyone remember what number we were on?
I feel like we were on 51.
Dvija read 52.
Dvija read 52.
I believe that's correct.
I'm clicking, okay, 42, 43, 44, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52. Okay, so we should be here then. Okay, that you only read one, Gauranga?
That's correct. When Lord Ramacandra, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, was the king of this world, all bodily and mental suffering, disease, old age, bereavement, lamentation, distress, fear, and fatigue were completely absent. There was even no death for those who did not want it. Purport. All these facilities existed because of Lord Ramachandra's presence as the king of the entire world. A similar situation could be introduced immediately, even in this age called Kali, the worst of all ages. It is said, Kali Kale Nama Rupe Krishna Avatar. Krishna descends in this Kali Yuga in the form of his holy name, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama. If we chant offenselessly, Ram and Krishna are still present in this age. The kingdom of Ram was immensely popular and beneficial, and the spreading of this Hare Krishna movement can immediately introduce a similar situation, even in this Kali Yuga.
Remark from you, reflection, Vijay Gauranga Prabhu? Anything?
Well, it harkens back to that statement that it could be that Satya Yuga can be inaugurated in this age by the establishment of Varna Ashram. And I mean, the focus, of course, of Srila Prabhupada is the emphasizing on the chanting. So they're kind of together, the chanting and establishing of Varna Ashram. And that was his statement, like, half my work to be done. So then the question obviously becomes, how do we do it? Even the discussion on how to implement Varnashram has been baffling to the Neo-Gaudiya community since Prabhupada left.
I'm wondering that myself. I live in a small Ontario town, 4,500. They say it'll grow to 14,500 in the next 5 years because lots of people are leaving Toronto and there's all kinds of new housing developments that have never been here before. They're sprouting up all over the place. And when I go to the local, Erin is the name of my town, community talk, and I put up a post showing the government told us that fluoride and mercury and cigarettes and glycophosphate were all good for us. And now they're telling us the truth. And then people started attacking me. Oh, you're very dangerous because you know a little about a lot of things. And people started getting really, almost, not exactly, in terms of their words, they were definitely overly aggressive. One lady who's a yoga teacher said, oh, I saw you, were like tolerating these very aggressive people that were attacking you, and you sound like, you know, a spiritual person. And so, you know, I'm trying to understand the way to infiltrate my own community. We have a farmers market, and one weekend I was hired to sing at the farmers market, and I just sang the Hare Krishna mantra and Bhaja Shri Krishna Chaitanya and so forth with my guitar and harmonium. So I thought, well, that's a victory. You know, I'm singing the holy names at the farmers market, but it's a little bit beyond me because I live kind of in a redneck village, you know, animal slaughter, GMO all around me. So, what are your thoughts, Dineshwar Prabhu, in terms of, you know, gradually infiltrating into your community? I have to confess, I haven't done a lot of book distribution here, just a
Well,
little.
in terms of establishing Varnashram Dharma, you can't do it gradually because it's a culture and one person cannot be a culture.
Right.
Prabhupada said, by our practical example, we will attract them. So if we had a community of devotees who are actually living and practicing that culture, people would come and see, and they would see that it's superior to what they have.
Mhm.
So as to how it's going to come about, it's really amazing, you know, my connection with the devotees in New Zealand and how things are developing down there. I'm the devotee that I'm in touch with who is taking the lead in creating a intentional community, land-based intentional community. The people who were at the protests, they were all saying, oh, you know, it was so nice how we were living like that. They were basically living a gift economy while they were there at the protests.
Uh-huh.
And, you know, everybody was just giving. Nobody was thinking about going to get money or whatever, and you know, just in a natural way. And they saying, oh, we want to do that again. So Budi, he organized everybody, okay, let's come together and let's, you know, we'll talk about how we can live that, you know, continue to live in that way. And he wants me to put on a seminar on the gift economy, spiritual economics, gift economy for the group. He organized a group of about 120 people came.
Oh.
Or let's say he organized a meeting to discuss such a community. 120 people came. Whereas when he organized, you know, such a meeting among the devotees, there was not so much interest, and he was very disappointed. So how I see it's going to develop, we're going to be forced into it because we're coming to a situation very soon where they're going to establish this cryptocurrency social credit score system. And if you don't get the jab and do everything, you know, that the government tells you to do, you're not going to get your money and you're going to be out of luck.
Uh-huh.
So people need to figure out real quick how to become independent of the government and their money.
Yeah.
And the way to do that is to depend on each other. So I'm very enthusiastic about putting on this seminar. It'll begin in 2 weeks on April 31st for us, May 1st for the New Zealanders.
What time?
It's going to be 2 p.m. on Saturday Eastern time.
Sounds great. Can you please remind us again when it comes closer to that?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
And so the other thing, I just quick comment that, you know, it happens spontaneously because when you take money out of this situation, all this artificial way of life goes away immediately.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's a matter of who can produce, who can make a contribution to the overall welfare of the group.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's going to need to eat. Everybody needs heat, you know, food, clothing, shelter.
Yeah.
And so, you know, it immediately becomes a matter of what's your varna, meaning what can you do? Okay. In a embryonic culture, people have to wear many hats because everything needs to get done. As the culture develops, specialization can occur to where, like, our modern society is very highly specialized because all of the basics are taken care of by other people. And so anyway, it's ironic that the demons themselves are actually creating the circumstances for this spiritual culture to develop.
Yes. It's when life serves you lemons, you make lemonade.
Well, because I've been racking my brains. I've been looking at, Prabhupada's instructions, but no devotees, they just don't want to do this, and so I'm thinking, okay, how's this going to happen? And then here I see, now the demons themselves are creating the circumstances for it to take place.
Very interesting. Yeah. That's very cool. What I was hearing about the devotees, the ones in New Zealand, the local GBCs. Wow. Yeah, thanks for putting that on mute. The local devotees in New Zealand, they went against their local GBC authorities, who told them this is the right activity, Harinam Sankirtan, at the wrong time, in the wrong place. But despite this ordinance being given, the devotees went out for 3 weeks, distributing 2,000 to 4,000 plates of Krishna Prasadam every day. They distributed over 200 books. They did Harinam Sankirtan for 12 hours a day. They kept it simple, sadhu, just the Prabhupada melody, so that everybody could learn it. It wasn't like all these different melodies. I mean, I love them. I love all these melodies myself, and it would require a little austerity on my part to just sing the standard Prabhupada melody. But I mean, it's about the holy name. So many people were learning the holy name. The devotees were becoming endeared to them. I heard that on a couple of occasions, a gentleman, seeing the good work of the devotees, donated a $2,000 donation to buy more boga to feed everybody. Did you hear that, Dineshwar?
Yeah, that's why I say gift economy. It's not a matter of what you have. Some people came and they just gave their time, right? The devotees were cooking, and other people gave money. Other people brought boga. The plumbers that were there, they hooked up showers and toilets for everybody.
Wow.
So everybody was giving. It was such a spontaneous way that everybody was just adding to what was needed, and using whatever ability they had, and they all loved it. And so it's a wonderful example. And I told Booty, this is your community.
Yes.
These people.
Yes. But you know what you're reminding me of? This is reminding me, I told a story once before. I won't go into a lot of detail, but when I lived at the Krishna house, helping with the Krishna lunch every day in around 93, 92, whatever, I heard that the Ocala rainbow gathering was coming up, the Ocala forest. So I asked a bunch of devotees, hey, do you want to go? We'll do lots of kirtan. We'll cook up some prasad. No, I'm busy. Got the wife, got the kids, got this, got that. So I thought, well, you know what? I'm just going to go myself. And I just took the mridanga on my back and my sleeping bag and some toiletries and a change of dhoti. And as soon as I walked into the area where the rainbow folks were hanging out with their tents, people started instantly coming up to me. I mean, I was not dressed Krishna West. I wasn't in my Ralph Lauren t-shirt and baseball cap. I was just in traditional dhoti and kurta and shaved head and tilak. And people immediately started gravitating to me. Hey, when are you going to be serving out the Krishna food? Can you get me some pots and rice and beans? Oh, sure, man. I'll go to the such and such camp. I'll get you some of that. And then other people were coming up to me. Hey, you're going to be serving the Krishna. Where's the Krishna kitchen? Where are you setting up the Krishna kitchen? Well, right here, but I need water and veggies. And okay, I'll get you some of that. And people started running off into different directions. And then other people came. Hey, when are you starting up the Krishna chant? Well, if you can stir the pot and you can get some people to chop the veggies, I'll start up the Krishna chant. Okay, man. And before I knew it, I had like a dozen people chopping veggies, getting water, stirring the pot, and I was playing my mridanga and singing Hare Krishna, and I felt like I was sitting under a Kalpavriksha tree. I mean, it was the most magic I've ever experienced.
That's the example. That's what, when Prabhupada says we'll attract them, by our practical example, we'll attract them. That's what he meant. Our whole movement was begun by giving. Prabhupada was just giving, right? And everybody wanted to reciprocate. That's exactly it. That's the formula.
Yes, it was wonderful. I was an
Actual economics.
Yes, and I got the realization, when you put yourself out on a limb for Krishna, or like that saying we have, you take one step towards Krishna, Krishna takes 10 steps towards you. Wow, did I ever get like a lot of reciprocation from Krishna that day? And I mean, I'm nobody special, but I just came with a drum, and I was a little peeved that none of the other devotees would come with me, but I was kind of in the Dhruva Maharaj mood, like, okay, I'll show them. I'll do it without them. This needs to be done. This is an opportunity that shouldn't be missed. And wow, it was beyond my imagination. I never expected anything like that to happen. That was pure bliss. That's one of my best memories in this lifetime. And I've heard that this devotee in New Zealand, Muchukunda, as a result of disobeying their GBC and going out and distributing prasadam and doing chanting the holy name, a men's ashram is developing. Several men want to become full-time devotees. Some new bhaktas. Have you heard about that, Dineshwar?
Yes, not only GBC, that's his guru or his initiating guru.
Oh, so he went against his guru and he had tremendous success.
Well, there's a couple of them. Sita Pati is also initiated by Devamrita.
Yes, it's quite a challenge.
So,
yes.
They were, bless their hearts, they were doing what the guru told them, you always, like Bali, right? Well, you always told me to surrender to Krishna, so here's Krishna, time to surrender. So, you always told us to do Harinam. This is time to do it, so we're going to do it,
But Guru was saying, no, it's not quite the right time and not the right place, and but they went ahead anyway.
Yeah, because they understood the principle, I don't know, maybe they read my book too.
Well, you know what? It reminds me of that story in the Prabhupada tells to John Lennon, Yoko, and George Harrison about the story of Ramanujacharya. And the Guru said, you should just keep this mantra to yourself. It will liberate you from the cycle of birth and death. But don't tell anybody. And I don't know why because I don't know, some concept maybe that you'll become spiritually bankrupt if you share this with others. I don't know why he didn't want him to tell anybody, but he went out into the street, into the center, the town square, and he started telling everyone, if you chant this mantra, you'll become liberated from the cycle of birth and death. And the Guru said, actually you're more advanced than me. You're more compassionate than me because you weren't afraid of getting any reaction. You actually wanted to give the mercy. I'm sure you've heard that story before.
Maybe we should get back to reading.
Yeah. I was wondering about Nandapatni. Will she read tonight? She's taken the Mauna Vrata. She's very silent this evening. Nandapatni, will you read? No?
Arjuna came also.
Arjuna Prabhu, will you read for us, please?
I'm at work, actually. I'm just listening in.
Oh, you're not able to read?
No, yeah, I'm here doing some electrical work, wiring up.
Oh, that's fine.
Lights.
Where are you from, Arjuna?
Auckland.
Oh, okay, great. You're in the crew with Daneshwar Prabhu.
Yeah, I haven't tuned into any of those ones live, but I listen to them on YouTube. I usually just listen to things at double speed on YouTube after the fact.
Okay, great. Were you at the protest? Were you doing kirtan?
No, I didn't make it down there.
Oh, okay. But you heard a lot of good things, right?
Yeah, I heard lots of good things. Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Then if you're not reading and then the Patni's not reading, then it's back to me. Lord Ramacandra took a vow to accept only one wife. and have no connection with any other woman. He was a saintly king, and everything in his character was good, untinged by qualities like anger. He taught good behavior for everyone, especially for householders, in terms of varnashram dharma. Thus, he taught the general public by his personal activities. Purport: Ekapatni vrata. Accepting only one wife was the glorious example set by Lord Ramacandra. One should not accept more than one wife. In those days, of course, people did marry more than one wife. Even Lord Ramachandra's father accepted more wives than one. But Lord Ramacandra, as an ideal king, accepted only one wife, Mother Sita. When Mother Sita was kidnapped by Ravan and the Rakshasas, Lord Ramacandra, as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, could have married hundreds and thousands of Sitas, but to teach us how faithful he was to his wife, he fought with Ravan and finally killed him. The Lord punished Ravan and rescued his wife to instruct men to have only one wife. Lord Ramacandra accepted only one wife and manifested sublime character, thus setting an example for householders. A householder should live according to the ideal of Lord Ramacandra, who showed how to be a perfect person. Being a householder or living with a wife and children is never condemned, provided one lives according to the regulative principles of Varnashram Dharma. Those who live in accordance with these principles, whether as householders, brahmacharis, or vanaprasthas, are all equally important. One thought that comes to me from reading this purport is Prabhupada saying in one recording that in the Bhagavatam purport, he says it's an inclination of a man to have, many consorts, many women in his life. But Prabhupada said, but in Kali Yuga, if a man can maintain even one wife, he will be considered a great hero. Does anyone have anything else to say about this purport?
There's different men.
I know devotees tried for. Yes.
Different men
Go
of
ahead.
different qualities
Uh-huh.
in terms of their shakti or their gunas.
Mm-hmm.
Kshatriya types, the can-do men, the very qualified men, they have a tendency to be able to give shelter to more than one woman. The nature of a Kshatriya is to give shelter to others. Not everybody has that character. And so what happens is, because in our modern society, we're all trained that we're all equal, right? Everybody's equal.
Yeah.
That if, we see some men in ISKCON who have had the desire to have more than one wife, they're criticized without taking into account what their nature may be. So, it's not the same for everybody. What one man can do, not every man can do. So, but the practical thing is, in this culture, right? You take more than one wife, it's illegal. You can have as many girlfriends as you want, right? That's not a problem. But if you marry more than one, right, to officially take care of them, that's forbidden.
That's considered sick.
Yeah.
But to have a bunch of prostitutes, that's cool.
Yeah.
I know the Mormons are Latter-day Saints. There's sometimes an issue is made out of them because they may have more than one wife, polygamy.
I think that's mainly the fundamental Latter-day Saints. It's a subsect of the Mormons. Yeah.
Okay. Krishna Chandra Prabhu, did you want to read next?
With pleasure, Prabhu.
Okay.
Well, Krishna's pleasure, of course.
As pleased, you're pleased.
Yes.
Okay, there you go.
Thank you. Mother Sita was very submissive, faithful, shy, and chaste, always understanding the attitude of her husband. Thus, by her character and her love and service, she completely attracted the mind of the Lord. As Lord Ramacandra is the ideal husband, Eka Patni Vrata, Mother Sita is the ideal wife. Such a combination makes family life very happy. Yad yad acharati shreshtas tatad evataru janaha. Whatever example a great man sets, common people follow. The kings, the leaders, and the brahmanas, the teachers, would set forth the examples we receive from Vedic literature. The entire world would be heaven. Indeed, there would be no longer be hellish conditions within this material world. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports of the 9th canto, 10th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled The Pastimes of the Supreme Lord Ramacandra.
With the high level of divorce, not just in Kali Yuga society, but even amongst devotees, this almost sounds like a fairy tale. I think women may also feel resentful. The idea of being submissive to a husband. I mean, with feminism being what it is, I'm not sure that modern women today would find the concept of being submissive to their husbands. You know what I mean?
If I may
Yes.
make a comment.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
by that same token, I think we'd also find men who were unable to provide adequate guidance and shelter for their wives. So I think it goes both ways too.
Right. But even if they do, that doesn't necessarily mean the wife will be submissive.
I feel like if they are proper shelter, I feel like they would inspire that kind of submissiveness.
It wasn't my experience personally in my marriage.
Prabhupada's statement was that the behavior of the woman or the quality of the woman determines the marriage. In other words, if a woman behaves naturally feminine way, the male man is reacts in such a way to want to protect, give shelter. And this is demonstrated. There's a number of books, one when we were young called Fascinating Womanhood, which is written by, I think, either a Mormon woman or Latter-days.
I was given that book many years ago in my marriage, yeah.
And another one came out in the 90s. And I remember seeing on 20 Minutes one night somehow that they were focused on a married couple, and they're saying, well, the love had gone out of our marriage and we were headed for divorce, and the woman saw the book in the bookstore and, well, why not? Let's have it, let's give it a try. So she stopped trying to be a man, right? She let her husband be the man, and she behaved submissively. And she said, and love came back into our marriage. Because why? Because, it's a matter of sexual energy. Opposites attract. And, if the woman's trying to be a man, which in this civilization, as we were talking last time, right, in a money economy, women can do what men do. But men are not attracted to women. Men are not attracted to other men. So there's no exchange of sexual energy if the woman's exhibiting male behavior.
That's right.
So, this point that's being made here is very appropriate. There's another verse like this in the 5th canto, 1st chapter. I think it's Maharaj Pranibari. No, that's
King Pranibari Shot. That's 4th canto. King Pranibari Shot.
No, this one's
Priyavrata. King
Priyavrata, and his wife was King Barismati. And it's the verse is almost identical, that by her feminine behavior, she gave energy to the Lord. So a man gets energy by this submissive feminine character of a woman.
Mhm.
And so he derives strength. And then that purport, Prabhupada says that sannyasis and brahmanas, they do not require the support of a woman, but all the other men do. And as the saying goes, right, behind every successful man, there's a woman.
Right.
Because the men do get energy from their helpmate, their wife, if she'll demonstrate that behavior.
Mm-hmm. Nandapatni, do you have any comment to make on that, please? Will you speak before the end of the night? Maybe not. Yeah, I remember in the first canto, Prabhupada refers to Yajnavalkya, and he makes reference to him that the psychology of men is that we tend to think that we're like in charge. And so if the woman serves her husband nicely, and as it's described here, understands the mind of the man and tries to mold herself, she's attentive to that, then the men will feel obliged to such a sweet and loving wife, and he'll naturally want to assist her in helping her to meet her needs and accomplish what she wants to accomplish. But there's this competition of, and I know I totally understand what you mean, this excess testosterone in women, or this. I mean, why take care of a woman if she's acting like she's wearing the pants in the family and she make all the decisions, right?
But there is a fact. You say testosterone, and I remember hearing that the excess radiation, like from Fukushima or something, it has the effect. And I didn't verify this at all. Maybe it's true, maybe it's not. But it has the effect of making women behave more like men and men behave more like women.
Wow.
So it's Kali Yuga. Everything is topsy turvy. And so, what can you do? Kali Yuga,
Yeah, the hormones become affected.
Yeah.
So we've got another 6 minutes left. Who just finished reading?
I finished reading one verse, yes.
Okay.
So yeah, Daneshwar Prabhu. So this is the next chapter. What's it entitled? The Lord Ramacandra Rules the World. Did you want to read the summary?
Yeah, but you got to put it on the screen.
Oh, excuse me. Sorry. Okay. There we go.
This chapter describes how Lord Ramacandra resided in Ayodhya with his younger brothers and performed various sacrifices. Lord Ramacandra, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, performed various sacrifices by which to worship himself. And at the end of these sacrifices, he gave land to the Hota Advaryu, Udgata, and Brahmana priests. He gave them the eastern, western, northern, and southern directions respectively, and the balance he gave to the Acharya. Lord Ramachandra's faith in the Brahmanas and affection for his servants was observed by all the Brahmanas, who then offered their prayers to the Lord and returned whatever they had taken from him. They regarded the enlightenment given to them by the Lord within the core of their hearts as sufficient contribution. Lord Ramachandra was subsequently dressed himself like an ordinary person and began wandering within the capital to understand what the impression the citizens had of him. By chance one night, he heard a man talking to his wife who had gone to another man's house. In the course of rebuking his wife, the man spoke suspiciously of the character of Sita Devi. The Lord immediately returned home, and fearing such rumors, he superficially decided to give up Sita Devi's company. Thus, he banished Sita Devi, who was pregnant, to the shelter of Valmiki Muni, where she gave birth to twin sons named Lav and Kush. In Ayodhya, Lakshman begot two sons named Angada and Chitraketu. Bharat begot two sons named Taksha and Pushkala. And Shatrugana begot two sons named Subahu and Shrutasena. When Bharat went out to conquer various lands on behalf of the emperor, Lord Ramacandra, he fought many millions of Gandharvas. By killing them in the fight, he acquired immense wealth, which he then brought home. Shatrugana killed a demon named Lavana and Madhavan, and thus established the capital of Mathura. Meanwhile, Sita Devi placed her two sons in the care of Valmiki Muni and then entered into the earth. Upon hearing of this, Lord Ramacandra was very much grieved, and thus he performed sacrifices for 13,000 years.
Wow.
After describing the pastimes of Lord Ramachandra's disappearance and establishing that the Lord appears for his pastimes only, Sukadev Goswami ends this chapter by describing the results of hearing about the activities of Lord Ramachandra and by describing how the Lord protected his citizens and displayed affection for his brothers.
Wow. Vijay Garanga Prabhu, would you like to, I guess, end the evening with reading a verse?
Let me know if you can hear me okay.
Starting.
I changed something over here. I hope it doesn't make a noise.
Sounds much better than before.
Okay.
Yeah.
Shukadev Goswami said, thereafter, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Ramchandra, accepted an acharya and performed sacrifices, yagyas, with opulent paraphernalia. Thus he himself worshipped himself, for he is the Supreme Lord of all demigods. Purport. Sarvaharnam Achutidya. If Achuta, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is worshipped, then everyone is worshipped. As stated in Srimad Bhagavatam 4:31-14. Itakaror mula nishchanena, tripyanti tat skanda bhujopashaka, pranopahara cha yatendriyanam, tataiva sarvaharanam achutidya. As pouring water on the root of a tree nourishes the trunk, branches, twigs, and leaves, and as supplying food to the stomach enlivens the senses and limbs of the body, worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead satisfies the demigods who are part of that Supreme Personality. Performing yajna involves worshipping the Supreme Lord. Here, the Supreme Lord worshipped the Supreme Lord. Therefore, it is said, Bhagavan Atmanatmanam, e.j. The Lord worshipped himself by himself. This does not, of course, justify the Mayavad philosophy by which one thinks himself the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The jiva, the living entity, is always different from the Supreme Lord. The living entities, Vibhinangsha, never become one with the Lord, although Mayavadis sometimes imitate the Lord's worship of himself. Lord Krishna meditated upon himself every morning as a grihastha, and similarly, Lord Ramchandra performed yagyas to satisfy himself. But this does not mean that an ordinary living being should imitate the Lord by accepting the process of angraha upasana. Such unauthorized worship is not recommended herein.
Any thought on this, Divija Garanga Prabhu?
Not off the top of my head.
Denny?
No, Prabhu, thank you.
Okay.
Just one little comment. So of course, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 10:2 that he is the source of the demigods, which is congruent with the analogy of watering the root to nourish the rest of the tree.
Thank you. So I'm wishing everyone an ecstatic Ram Navami. I don't know what you're doing for that. It's on Sunday, at least for us on the East Coast, right? Today's the 8th. It's on the 10th. But yeah, thank you very much for celebrating these readings. I don't know if you want to go on to finish a little more of this chapter on Monday, or if we should just go back to Krishna book. But I'm not used to going further into the next chapter, but it would be nice to read a little bit more since we're in the mood of Lord Rama these days. So thank you so much for everyone's association. I am indebted to you all. And have an ecstatic Ram Nomi. I think it's a fast, what, till noon, is it? Or till sunset?
Sunset.
On my calendar, it says sunset,
Okay,
but the local Narayan temple, they're only fasting till noon.
I see.
I don't know what what calendar they follow.
Someone recently
In
posted.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Someone recently posted again what Srila Prabhupada's direct instruction, where he indicated nightfall. In fact, it was Tamal Krishna Maharaj was asking him. I said, and I believe something like Prabhupada said, like Lord Chaitanya. So then Tamal Krishna Maharaj asked, moonrise. Prabhupada said sunset.
Mm-hmm. Very good. So a good day to increase our hearing and chanting of the glories of the Lord. I was in the Toronto temple and some Western fellow came back from India and he had these two big volumes from what is it called? Gorakhpur? Gorakhpur? Or is it Gita Press? I think it's called. Anyway, they're cloth bound and they're like, it was an old Ramayana. So I bought them from him. So I've got that. It's in all the very old English with ye and thou and thee. I've never read it, but I've kept it as treasure all these years.
2 volumes. It must be have more detail. I read Subramanian's, which is, I believe, what Prabhupada recommended for us to read many years ago. Did you read, Dweja? What did you read?
I didn't read that one, but that is the one that Prabhupada recommended, that what you mentioned. I think I read, what did I read? I can't recall.
Our God brother did a translation.
Yeah, this is Gita Press from Gorakhpur. Srimad Valmiki Ramayan. I don't know if you can see these.
No, it doesn't show up.
Doesn't show.
Right.
Oh, there it is. Yeah.
So I have to take off the
There it is. It's
call
the
it.
Valmiki Ramayan, so that's good. Valmiki Ramayan, yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
Huh?
It's a lot of Ramayan there. But back in the 80s, I was visiting New Vrindavan, maybe it was 79. And I forget the name of the building there. There's like Radha Vrindavan and Radha Vrindavan Chandra and Radha Vrindavan Nata. And so anyway, just lying around, it was kind of abandoned.
I remember this one. I remember that one.
I found this copy. Kirtanananda released this Ramayan. I've never actually read it. I should read it. But his intention was to create a like the Rama book. The Krishna book. So he wanted to do like, Rama, the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
You said Achyutananda did that?
No, Kirtanananda.
Oh, uh-huh.
A big book.
I remember seeing
And
it.
it's filled with paintings from Persia, with depicting Ramayan, but with Persian art and Persian writing in it. So yeah, maybe I'll read this weekend.
Just speaking of which, I just found out that one of the emperors, Mughal emperors of India, actually commissioned a Persian language translation of Mahabharata, which I didn't know about it till very recently. I was very fascinated. But
That's your ancestors, right? Your ancestors are Persians.
My father's ancestors are from Iran, so I'm thinking a lot of people in Iran must have read the Mahabharata and therefore the Bhagavad Gita, which
Cool.
Gaura, I just remembered that wasn't the Ayodhya, the land of the Ayodhya temple returned back to the Hindus?
Yeah, I heard there was a riot there because they had built a mosque just like they did in Mathura. They tried to build a giant mosque over Krishna's Janmashthan.
That's been going on for many, many years, but I think Modi finally settled it.
Uh-huh.
How or other this year. Do I remember that correctly?
I remember hearing that. Yeah. I don't know exactly what the settlement was.
So I'd really be curious. I'm thinking now to look on the internet and see if there's some kind of, celebration for
Oh yeah.
his appearance there tomorrow.
Oh, we've got Sikarani here, our representative from Bharat Varsha. Do you know the details on that, Sikarani? How things were settled with the temple in Ayodhya?
Oh, yeah, definitely. So basically, the archaeological evidence that was the biggest evidence. And you guys already know, like, there were three parties, right? One was basically Lord Rama himself, another party was the Muslim people, and another party was related to the Hindu people. So basically, in the end, it was decided that because even according to Islam, it is kind of haram to ever make a masjid on ruins of other temple. So they, even if they pray at that place, even if the masjid mosque exists, that is not allowed in their religion, because they are not supposed to make a mosque on a ruins of some other building. So first of all, it was just their ego that they just wanted to pray at that place. Second thing, it only had that significance that it is a place of worship. It has no other significance like Makkah or Medina, which has any kind of history associated with it, or it is a birthplace of
Uh-huh.
some god. So they were just being egoistic and selfish, because they can make mosque anywhere in India. Every 5 miles you will see a mosque. There are so many mosques. And
Yeah.
also, in their religion, it is not even necessary to have a mosque. They literally start doing namaz on the road. Sometimes they will even stop the traffic. Sometimes they will just start meeting at a park and take over the whole park. This is very common in India. So it was just their arrogance that they were not understanding this situation from 300 years. Then there were scientific evidence that, of course, the archaeological evidence showed that all the ruins had either inscriptions from Buddha culture or Hindu culture. Like, even if they tell that, oh, this is not exactly Hindu, but it was not at all related to any Islamic
Mhm.
culture or whatever artists.
In
So
other
that was,
words, they became defeated by their own principle of not building on what was previously.
yes, exactly. So there was scientific evidence, there was also religious principles, those evidence. And third thing was like, the masjid doesn't exist anymore, because the Hindu people finally got frustrated, I guess, in 1990, and they broke the masjid. So if there is no masjid, then why the hell do you want to create a masjid? So if there is a masjid, that is a big dilemma, right? Because it is a religious place, you don't want to break the religious place. But now there is no more, the masjid is not even there. So it makes path more clearer now. Because if,
Masjid means mosque.
yeah, mosque. So the thing is that, suppose you just imagine the mosque still exists, any court would hesitate to ask people to break the mosque and create the temple. But because in 1990 people already broke the mosque, so now it was easier to build a temple there. So those three things were major facts, I would say. Now they gave a lot of money and separate land also for creating mosque. They just said that you should not create in this region, because just imagine, uh, even where there is Makkah or Medina, there is no Ram temple or Krishna temple. So usually when there is place for one particular religion, they don't tend to create other big places. So that was something which they didn't like. They were like, oh, we want mosque in Ayodhya itself. But the court said no, because Ayodhya is the birthplace of Ram. You can make a mosque just after, like, maybe, I guess, outside of Ayodhya,
Right.
anywhere outside of Ayodhya.
Uh-huh. Cool.
So that was the decision. And also there was one interesting thing, that even the people who were kind of claiming to be the inheritance of, like, what it is called, like, the people
Yeah,
who are,
the heirs.
yeah,
Heirs.
yeah, they also said that they do not mind. So that was Babri Masjid, right? So the people who were kind of taking the responsibility of Babri Masjid, like the people from his family, they also said that we do not mind. It was just the Muslim people, like mostly the fanatics, who were not agreeing. The person who was the kind of owner of the Babri Masjid, he himself came to the news and he was like, I don't have any problem. He was not at all kind of sad or anything. But
So they
other people were sad.
so they
Like the,
dismantled it. They dismantled it.
So
yeah.
Sekarani, do you know, are they building a Ram temple there? Or is somebody taking responsibility to put up a temple for Ram, Sita Ram?
Yeah. They actually, so, oh my God, maybe you guys don't know, millions of money is already collected. People donated like gold bricks for the temple. All the kings, the ancestral kings of India, the Hindu kings, and also the government people, like whoever wants, they are donating a lot. There was a big donation drive, and the first thing is, it is called Silanyas, which is like Silanyas means putting the first brick for any building. You guys know, right? They would do some
Yeah,
kind of worshipping puja for that. So
ceremony,
that
yeah.
is done. That was already done last year.
Wonderful. Okay,
Yeah. They also
good.
created the whole
So,
architecture and design.
so do you suppose that there will be some celebration, maybe that would be on internet? Or do they not do that? You know, like
Yeah,
Rath Yatra?
they would. I think they definitely in news you can watch everything. It is always recorded. Even the Silanyas, the whole puja, it is recorded. It is on the internet.
No, I mean, like if there's a festival tomorrow for birth of Ramachandra, would they have something there? You know, like sometimes we do for ISKCON temples, we put that on internet.
Yeah. They would have.
Okay, I'll look.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you for
Yeah.
that information. Very
And I
nice.
guess you guys also know, like in Deepavali, they do they are in the Guinness Book of the World Record to put, I think, I don't even know, hundreds of thousands of diyas there.
Here it is. This is what it looks like. Pradakshina Pat Dhvaja Kalash Shikara Garba Griha Jagati. This is the new mandir.
It looks rather small, but I suppose it's probably not.
I don't think it is.
Yeah, wonderful. Do you know if it's finished, Sikarani? Do you know, is it finished?
No. It has just started last year. So it will
Oh,
take
well,
time.
look at that picture, the one on the left. There's men standing up there, or I guess they're building a model or something.
Yeah.
I don't think it is finished. It is
Yeah.
just, it is in process.
It will hardly take 3 to 4 years more to get completed, right? Till now, the land that has been allotted there, at that place, people used to go and they light the diyas, right? And langar, free food is provided to all the visitors over there, and that food has been managed by, there is a very great cancer institute in India, which is approx 300 to 400 kilometers away from the place where it is being built, right? It is called as Mahavir Cancer Sansthan, right? So the person who is handling that Mahavir Cancer Sansthan, he used to provide he is drawing the architecture of that temple, which is going to be made over there, and free food for at least 4,000 people, right, is provided there every day. Right?
Can you
His name is, I think the people, you guys, I am the first one. I am joining it for, I have joined this meeting after so long, and I was told by Shikarani, right, that these people used to organize meetings. So I would like to tell you one thing, that you people should search a person who is highly devoted towards the God. He was earlier in the highest service to the police, right, cop services. He was a IPS. It is called as Indian Police Service. It is a prestigious job. His name is Kishore Kunal, right? Kishore Kunal, and he is the mentor behind that the construction of the building, and he used to take care of all the temples and every religious things in a particular state called Bihar, right? Kishore
Yes.
Kunal. Yeah, you should search there, search his name, right? And after getting he resigned from his job, and thereafter he devoted his full services towards the service to the mankind, right? Until now, he might have given donations from his charity organization to more than thousands of people in terms of throat cancer treatment and skin cancer treatment and breast cancer treatment, like that. So he's a very popular person, and he is getting offers from lots of government to become the highest prestigious post to get the highest prestigious post in a state which is called as governor, but he is rejecting. He keeps on rejecting, right? That man is extremely important to get searched. His name is Kishore Kunal.
Oh, please have him come and read with us.
Yep.
Yes.
Thank you, Prabhu. That's nice to know.
Lord Ramachandra's reign, Lord Ramachandra's Raj is returning.
Yep.
Yeah.
Ram Raj is returning, right? You can
Yeah.
say, yeah.
Shri Ram Janmabhoomi. I guess this
Yep.
this is also Ayodhya.
Ayodhya. Yeah, Ayodhya.
And that's the Sarayu River.
Saryu.
Yes.
Saryu.
Wonderful. All right. Well, please accept my respectful obeisances. Thank you so much for coming together and glorifying Lord Ramachandra and Sita Devi, Hanuman, Lakshman, Ki Jai. Bunch
Jai.
of previous
Jai Bole.
Nam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah.
Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Srila
Jai.
Thank you
Chandra.
for your association, everybody.
Hari
Hare
Yes.
Happy
Bol.
Hari Bol. See you
Happy Ram Navami.
Monday.
Ki Jai.
Thanks a lot, Dinesh, for your valuable points. That was really great. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna. Hare Rama. Hare Krishna.
See you Monday.
Okay.